Who would have thought that an NRA T-shirt given to her by her father right after he joined the NRA would have landed Haley Bullwinkle, a sophomore at Canyon High School in California, in the principal's office. The reason? The T-shirt violated the school's dress code because it, quote-unquote, promoted gun violence. But Haley and her parents didn't just disagree, they were outraged and were determined to fight the school's policy all the way. Take a look.
I felt like my rights were totally violated. Even though I'm just 16 years old, I still have rights. I didn't think it was wrong for me to wear that shirt.
We actually looked in the school's handbook, and there was nothing on it that said anything about the NRA or a rifle. It said the promotion of either drugs or violence. An NRA shirt isn't promoting any violence.
I'm proud of this T-shirt because it represents America and America's traditions.
It's a respected association, so I wouldn't take off the shirt. I would argue with the school. That doesn't violate the First Amendment.
I'm not too sure what would happen at that point, but I wouldn't have taken off the shirt.
It has gone too far because they have no right to make someone literally take off their clothing. The government seems to be trying to control us too much.
These high school kids, they get it, and they understood it was a First Amendment issue, and it's awesome. That gives me hope for the future.
There was a fight to fight. There was nothing wrong with what she was wearing.
The day this happened, Haley was in a hurry to get to school, so she grabbed her NRA T-shirt and put it on, never thinking it would cause a problem because she's worn it to school before. But that's not the way it turned out.
I was walking to class, and then the security guard approached me and asked me to see my shirt and told me to move my hair. And I was doing everything he was telling me, but he just looked and sounded annoyed the entire time.
Oh, the NRA letters at the top of that T-shirt, that's what got their attention first and foremost.
Oh, I think really it's because of those letters. He saw the letters NRA on that shirt, and I believe that he acted in accordance with his political beliefs.
From there, they looked for an excuse to bring it under the dress code.
They pull you into the office. They made you take the shirt off. What were you thinking?
I didn't really know what to think at the time. He told me I couldn't wear the shirt because it promoted gun violence. And I was really confused. I didn't think it promoted any gun violence.
The shirt promoted gun violence. The shirt, just even saying it sounds so absurd. It's got a deer and an American flag and a silhouette of a hunter. That's it.
You look at what other kids wear, and why Haley?
And why Haley? Yes, that's a good point. What about the kids that are going to school that are able to wear a picture of a hand grenade right on the front of the shirt? And they're never disciplined for any of that. But Haley gets singled out for this shirt.
Girls dress skimpier these days, and they don't get called up to the office because of what they wear.
They are in violation of the school's dress code, and she wasn't.
I had worn the shirt before 2 or 3 times to school.
I think the key point here is nobody had even noticed. So where's the threat of violence?
I was definitely shocked. Haley Bullwinkle is the quintessential good kid. She's got all A's, 1 B. She's even won President Obama's Presidential Achievement Award. And she's honest to a fault. And she loves playing the violin, she's good at it, and she loves going out shooting, and she happens to be good at that too.
I've actually taken the orchestra there at the school, so it's just violin and gun violence. They don't really go together.
When you paint that picture, you just can't put them into the same frame.
Some people might say, why go this far? Why make a big deal about it? Your thoughts on that?
Well, actually, Haley and I had a conversation about this, and it really just laid out the scenario for her. And I said, you could just leave this alone. You could just say, you know what, it's just a T-shirt, and who cares, right? And then I said, there's the other side of that coin, where you say, where do I draw the lines? Should I stand up for what I believe is right? And I said, you have that choice in front of you.
And I told him, I want to stand up and fight. If you just decide that you want to just sit there and do nothing, could you imagine if everybody did that? Then it's just gonna get worse and worse.
I was very proud. I said, you know what? Okay. I said, then let's do it.
I mean, were you surprised the school apologized?
Yeah, I was surprised they apologized, and I was surprised at how fast they apologized.
I think ultimately they realized if we're going to go that far and try and expand the notion of promoting violence to just cover a silhouette of a hunter, then they have a mascot, which is a Comanche, who has spears and arrows and tomahawks. Their drill team rehearses with the spinning rifles, all of which are great, but you can't have a double standard here. So the bottom line is that a student's First Amendment rights don't end at the doorstep, and the Supreme Court has made that clear.
They came back very quickly, and I think having that media attention, having the backing of an organization like the NRA has just empowered us and has made us feel very confident in defending ourselves in this issue, because this is daunting. I think the school district realized we were not going to back down.
Originally, it would have been just me and my dad just trying to fight this thing on our own, but the NRA came in and they gave us a huge amount of extra support.
The principal told me that her father was actually a card-carrying NRA member and that he served in Vietnam. She said that she absolutely, adamantly disagrees with the actions of the security guard, and she must have told me 3 or 4 times.
This is something really everybody got behind. A lot of people came out of the woodwork, even if they're not necessarily Second Amendment supporters, and supported her First Amendment right to wear the shirt, because it's the latest example of political correctness run amok.
You hear what happened to a child who used his hand as a gun. 2 kids playing on their front yards, they had air guns that they were using. Where does this end?
You're right, where does this end? I think it's a big agenda, and it really stems out of, to be honest, out of ignorance and a bit of fear. But boy, common sense has really just gone out the window.
Well, the problem is that the policies like this leave a biased administrator or bureaucrat with way too much discretion to interpret the policies, silly interpretations of what the policies say. So they're basically solutions in search of a problem. We need another court ruling that defines the limits on school censorship like this.
I don't want to be one of those people who's never shot a gun, never held the gun, or taken a gun safety course and just automatically assume that they're violent and they're dangerous. Well, only if you don't know how to use them.
One of the big notions of political correctness is it ultimately amounts to mind control and stops us from having a free exchange of ideas.
It's a very scary thought. It is absolutely starting at the school level, and I think the anti-gun people have learned to move the front of the assault into the schools.
I feel like I'm showing people that I'm thinking for myself. I'm not mindlessly following what other people are saying. And I feel like I'm being a voice for all those people that wouldn't necessarily stand up.
This is a better civics lesson than I think I could ever hope to give her otherwise. I think the founding fathers would be incredibly proud of her. I really do. I think this is what this country is about, standing up for your rights.
I hope Haley realizes that she's an inspiration for students and families all across the country.
Absolutely. This is a victory, to me, nationwide. And we need more victories like this. We need more people to stand up and fight and say, I'm not going to just let my constitutional rights be trampled because some guard decides that he's going to lord over these high school kids with his personal political beliefs.
Going through all this, it's just made me realize how important the First Amendment is and how horrible it would be if we lost it.